Hello and welcome back to the FPL Tom YouTube channel. In today's video we're going to cover 5 of the best differentials ahead of game week 10 up until around game week 16. In the video we're going to cover a few players that you potentially should be looking to bring in your side. These players are very much on the cheeky differential side. What do I mean by differential? Well, we're looking at players who are under 5% owned. Every player in this video is currently under 5% owned. I think the highest one is up to 3.8% at the time of recording, but I do imagine his ownership will go plus 5% this game week. If you do enjoy the content that you see on the channel, please like, comment and subscribe, as we are trying to hit 1,000 subs here on the FPL Tom YouTube channel. But yeah, that's enough waffle from me. Let's dive into our 5 differentials for this video. And starting off today's video is my first differential. It is Aubameyang. I have seen nobody in the FPL community mention this man yet. Obviously, it was his kind of first game in the Premier League for Chelsea this weekend and played fairly okay, getting himself a very good goal. Lovely smart finish on the swivel as well. The reason I've included Aubameyang is I do believe that there potentially could be a void in forwards, with kind of Mitrovic potentially being injured, and we may want to move away from Harry Kane at some point, and I think Aubameyang potentially could be that option. Good long-term fixtures coming up for Chelsea up until the World Cup: Wolves, Aston Villa, Brentford, Manchester United, Brighton, Arsenal and Newcastle. Chelsea as well, though, have seemed to struggle creating opportunities. Not only under Tuchel, it seemed like that trend kind of continued under Potter as well at the weekend. Obviously, it took a wonderful Conor Gallagher goal to get them the win. Both goals as well were really low XG, as you can see from Pierre Aubameyang's XG, 0.16. But I do like the fixtures coming up. I also like Aubameyang as a player. Very good Premier League forward. We've seen that numerous times for Arsenal. Last season, 17 games, 11 goals and 1 assist for Barcelona as well. So this man does know where the back of the net is. Chelsea don't really have another kind of Premier League forward. They kind of have Kai Havertz, who plays within that false 9 system, if they want to go for that, or Armando Broja, who for me is just not a Premier League footballer, not ever going to be one either, in my personal opinion. Probably going to get absolutely slated for that opinion, but I just don't think he's good enough, especially for this Chelsea side. So I think Aubameyang is going to play a large majority of the games. Another difficult point though with Aubameyang is kind of that price. 9 million, trying to kind of fit him into your side is going to be very difficult indeed. It's very similar to Sterling at that 9.9, 10 million price point. Who are we going to have to kind of get rid of to get a player like this within our side? The fixtures are good. He is a very good player. I do think he's potentially one where we wait and see. If he can perform in the next 2, then I definitely think he'll be on a lot more people's radars for the upcoming fixtures. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below, are you potentially taking a look at Aubameyang, and do you think I'm the first person to mention him, or have I gone absolutely batshit crazy? Let me know down in the comments below. But let's move on to our second differential of today's video. Moving on to the second player within today's video, it is Jarrod Bowen, a man I did speak about in my last video, in the transfer targets video. Do own Jarrod Bowen within my own team as well. Very happy to own him after this weekend's performance. His ownership is now up to 3.8%, 3.7 yesterday, 3.8 today, and I can see this man reaching over that 5% mark after this game week has finished, if he can have another amazing week as he did this week. Goal and assist plus Wolves. It was a classic Jarrod Bowen performance, really. A gammy little assist, so many he got last season of them, and then an absolute wonder goal from Jarrod Bowen. Wonderful player as well. Fits this talisman theory that I've been absolutely just banging on about. If you are a regular viewer or a subscriber, you're probably absolutely fed up of me going on about this, but I do believe he kind of fits this mold. All the play goes through him. He's on set pieces as well, and you know what? I really like the fixtures coming up for West Ham as well. Fulham, Southampton, Liverpool, Bournemouth, Manchester United, Crystal Palace and Leicester. Fulham got absolutely bummed at the weekend, 4-1 by Newcastle. No Mitrovic potentially as well. That could be a huge blow for them. I do think they'll start to drop down the table a little bit more as things develop within the league. Southampton next, haven't kept a clean sheet in 12 games as well, so there's another team that West Ham could absolutely destroy. And then Liverpool have been just rubbish, just absolutely dreadful over the past kind of season, this whole season, just rubbish. Brighton absolutely dismantled them at times. Leandro Trossard had an absolute field day. West Ham are very, very good when teams kind of attack them and they kind of sit back and hit on the counter, especially Jarrod Bowen, that pace and that link-up he does have with Mikel Antonio. Bournemouth in game week 13 as well is absolutely delicious as a fixture, and Jarrod Bowen could also potentially be on penalties. We saw that in the Europa Conference League, took a penalty. It's yet to be confirmed within the Premier League if he is on penalties or kind of what role he will be taking. I really like the fixtures coming up. I really like Jarrod Bowen as a player. I definitely think he's got a lot of explosivity with him. I do think there are potentially other West Ham players who potentially could emerge as options as well. Maybe someone from the back line, although the wing backs kind of seem to be rotating a little bit at the moment. Maybe, is it Kira, who came from PSG? I can't quite remember his name off the top of my head. Or I do like the look of Skamaka as well as a forward option. Obviously, with Mitrovic potentially being injured, there is him as well. He would also come under this massive differential bracket. But I would be saying go for Jarrod Bowen if you are looking to potentially bring in a West Ham player. That was the second player that we've covered within this differential video. If you are enjoying it, please do like and comment, and also subscribe if you're enjoying it that much. But let's move on to our third player within today's video. Marc Guehi is the third player that we're going to take a look at in today's differential video. Really like Guehi, looking to bring him into my own side in the next coming game weeks. I'm not sure how I'm going to go about it, but I do think he's a really, really good asset. Defender at 4.3 million, super low ownership. And we went through Crystal Palace's fixtures in my video yesterday. Amazing long-term fixtures. Leeds, Leicester, Wolves, Everton, Southampton, West Ham and Nottingham Forest. I don't think you could get a better fixture run. Plenty of clean sheet potential there for Crystal Palace as well. One concern I do have with the Palace defence is they're currently 17th for XG conceded. However, you do have to factor in the fact that they've played City, they've played Arsenal, and I think they've played Chelsea. They've obviously played Chelsea. But yeah, so I like the fixtures that are coming up. Obviously, the defensive data isn't quite there, but Marc Guehi will be looking to put in some strong defensive performances as the England centre-back spot is really opening up. Harry Maguire is just not playing for Manchester United, and when he does play, he's an absolute calamity. You obviously kind of have this hatred towards Tomori for some reason, Gareth Southgate. Not sure why that exists. So I do think there is a potential opening at centre-back if someone can kind of nail themselves down, get into a good bit of form just before the World Cup. With these strong fixtures coming up for Crystal Palace as well, I do expect a lot of clean sheets and a lot of good defensive performances by them. I think at 4.3 million as well is an absolute steal. If you potentially have Patterson from Everton, if you brought him in, say, on a game week 8 wildcard and he's now picked up a knock and you are looking for a defensive replacement, I do think Marc Guehi is the perfect option. You're talking only 0.3 million more for a regular starter who has really good fixtures, and for a team who have kind of been synonymous with a good defensive kind of data and structure within their side. It's not quite panning out that way this season, but I do believe it will kind of come back a little bit over the next few weeks with the really nice fixtures coming up. That was Marc Guehi. I think anyone from that Crystal Palace defence would be a real dream. I know a lot of people own Gaeta in goal, think he's a really good option, but obviously there are other options as well within that back line. But let me know down in the comments below, are you going to potentially take a look at Marc Guehi? But let's move on to our final two players within today's video. Moving on to a ginger nut biscuit, it is Harvey Barnes, a player who I have absolutely loved owning in previous installments of this game. Absolutely wonderful player when he is on it, when he is firing on all cylinders. So far this season, it kind of hasn't happened for him or Leicester. Only one goal, no assists, but the fixtures for Leicester coming up are absolutely amazing. Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Leeds, Wolves, Manchester City, Everton and West Ham. I think you would have to bench him for that Manchester City game. And on another point of caution, please just wait till kind of the Forest game has finished before you do bring in this man to your team. Personally, for that extra 1.1 million, I would say go for Maddison, as again, he fits this talisman theory on set pieces. All the play kind of comes through him. Really, really do like him as the better of the two options. But if you are a little bit short for money, you want to bring in a Leicester midfielder, then Harvey Barnes for me is kind of the second best option. I really love the way he's direct. He's got a wonderful, powerful shot on him as well. Last season had a really good had a really good season in terms of numbers, 32 games, 10 goals, 6 assists. Had 2 previous years as well, which he put up some very good statistics as well. Kind of going a little bit under the radar is Harvey Barnes. I don't think there's kind of been that performance from him yet this season, or any data to suggest that that performance is going to come, but it's a very similar situation that we were in with Jared Bowen a few weeks ago, where a lot of people were saying, well, there's no data, there's nothing behind this, blah, 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 blah. And then he went and scored and got an assist this game week, so it feels very similar to that. The fixtures are really good. He's a fantastic player. I think Leicester players and Brendan Rodgers are going to be playing for their life now. Obviously, with this run of fixtures, they can put themselves in a really good position come the start of the World Cup, where they can kind of move themselves away from that relegation zone, get themselves into a good position coming back, and then can focus on the second half of the season. It's a real crucial point for them, and a real crucial point for a lot of players as well, who've got to really step up to the mark. Leicester don't have any money to kind of spend this season, so there is kind of an onus on the players that are already there that you've got to deliver, you've got to start putting in the numbers, and I do think Harvey Barnes is one of those players who needs to just take that step up, return to kind of the performances that he has been doing over the past few seasons. Like I said, I do prefer James Maddison as kind of the Leicester option if you want to go for one. I wouldn't touch any single Leicester defender with a barge pole. They can't concede. They are more leaky than kind of a con man's builder's roof. That sort of made sense. We'll go with it. We'll stick with it. So I wouldn't touch the Leicester defence. Forwards, I do like Patterson Daka and potentially Iheanacho as an option if Daka is injured. I think Vardy's time has come and gone. But Maddison is the one in midfield I would be looking at. Harvey Barnes second. And then Tielemans if you really stretch for budget. But I think he's only going to get points from the penalty spot. But yeah, that was Harvey Barnes. Let me know down in the comments below, are you looking to potentially bring in any Leicester players for the upcoming game week? But let's move on to my final differential within today's video. And the final player for today's video is a player who is a massive punt and is going to make me look a massive punt when he absolutely blanks and I get absolutely slated in the comments and on Twitter. But we're going with it. It is Bobby Reid, or Decol Bobby Reid, something like that. Yeah, let's just go with Bobby Reid. Really good fixtures coming up for Fulham, West Ham, Bournemouth, Aston Villa, Everton, Manchester City and Manchester United. So kind of tails off towards the end. But I really like this man as an option, down to the fact that if Mitrovic is potentially injured, then I think he may be on penalties. Like, this is a big claim. Like, I don't think there's any kind of solid proof in there. I've seen that he's taken penalties before for Bristol City and Cardiff, but never one for Fulham, and I don't know if he's second in the Fulham pecking order. I haven't done too much research into this, but at 5.5 million, if we can get a player with really good fixtures and potentially, I'm putting this out there, potentially on penalties, then that could be an absolute dream. Last season, 8 goals and 8 assists in the Championship, and the season before that when he was in the Premier League, 5 goals and 2 assists. So far this season, 2 goals, 1 assist. Did score again at the weekend for kind of Fulham against Newcastle. It's really punty, this one. He is Fulham's second highest scoring player, I do believe, after Mitrovic, who's just way clear of absolutely everyone else. But if he is injured, they do lose their focal point and will be looking for kind of another player to step up to that mark. I do believe Reid potentially could do that. At the moment, kind of playing on that left-hand side within the midfield. But I think with this Mitrovic injury, we potentially could see him return to a more central role. But you know, there's a lot of ums and ahs around this one. I think I'm going to wait, if I was ever going to bring him in, I'm going to wait till the West Ham game, kind of see where he plays and how Fulham kind of operate without Mitrovic, or if Mitrovic is fit. just ignore this option completely. But I'm going to watch the West Ham game, see how this man operates, see what kind of positions he is taking up, because I do think he potentially could be an option at 5.5 million. Obviously, we're going to be looking for options as well in game week 12 if we've got potentially Martinelli. Fulham take on Aston Villa. Very, very good, very appetising fixture. So maybe a quick one short-term kind of punt for the next few game weeks up until around game week 15 when he does face Manchester City. Like I said, good long-term fixtures, potentially, I'm putting that out there, potentially on penalties. Doing really well this season as well. 2 goals, 1 assist. I've kind of been looking through kind of all the past who scored as well. He's doing very well on there as well. So he's kind of going under the radar a little bit here, like kind of with these good fixtures, if he's going to be the main man who's going to have to step up to the plate, as he did a few seasons ago when Scott Parker fell out with Mitrovic, then he is potentially an option. I don't bang my house on him and say that he's going to be absolutely amazing, but I do think he potentially could be a little bit of a differential. Someone who potentially could be coming off and on your bench at 5.5 million. It does kind of make this a lot harder to justify, but there aren't too many good midfielders around that price point. So if you are looking for one, maybe take a look at Reid, do your own research. Obviously, this video is excellent research. Well done, you. But obviously do a little bit more digging, maybe look into the penalty situation, maybe kind of check what Marco Silva's comments are around whether or not who's going to be taking the penalties when Mitrovic isn't playing. I doubt we'll get an answer on that. Maybe look at previous games as well where Mitrovic wasn't playing and who took the penalties, because I couldn't find it, but I did find the fact that he did score for Bristol City and Cardiff. So there you go. There's a nice little start. I do like him as an option, like I said. Good fixtures. Okay-ish price point, but like I said, if Mitrovic's fit, just don't bother with this one. That was the last differential within today's video as well. Let me know what you think of all 5 players included. Are you potentially going to take a punt on any of them? I think Bowen, GUEHI are the top kind of 2 for me. Aubameyang third, then Barnes, then Reid within that order. Hopefully they all score and you realise how amazing my content is, so much so that you want to subscribe to the FPL Tom YouTube channel. If you did enjoy the video as well, don't forget to like and comment down below, as I do answer all questions down there. But thank you very much for watching and good luck in game week 10.